Hey, what's up, Mortgage Coach community? I am with Eric Wiley, EVP and owner in PacRez, a awesome independent lender in Portland, Oregon, and we are at the IMB event. This is the annual MBA event for independent mortgage bankers. So, Eric and I are taking a walk-in meeting, which I think I need to start doing walking meetings at all these conferences.
It's beautiful. Well, we also need to do it with the beach right behind us, right?
Yeah, we can't do that all the time, but it's one of my goals when I travel this year that I try to do a walking meeting at 6:30 or 7 with someone that's a game changer in the industry. So I was asking Eric what have been his takeaways so far, and one of his takeaways I think is a very big idea and a very important idea for all loan officers that want to have sustainable careers in the industry and who want to build wealth. You know, there's a difference between being a loan officer that makes a lot of money and being a mortgage advisor that creates generational wealth. And that is one of the cool things about the mortgage business is we can make a lot of money, but we got to keep it and we got to be good business people. So Eric, why don't you tell everybody kind of your takeaway, and then we also got a couple other ideas.
Yeah, so I think my takeaway from here is that one, and Dave and I were talking about this, he was a student of the business when he got into the mortgage business. I was a student of the business when I got into the mortgage business. And being at the IMB, I've been to a lot of different sales side types of conferences, and those are necessary. You need that, especially if you're in sales. But there's also how the system works, what affects how the system works. And I think that more people learning more about that will actually help originators convey better to consumers why something happens or what's likely to happen next, and also why maybe lending practices are a certain way today and they weren't that way last time they had a loan, opportunity, that sort of thing. So I think that was a big thing here, but also I think a key takeaway that Dave and I were talking about is getting back to ground floor tactics done very, very well. So lots of repetition, lots of practice. Obviously with MortgageCoach, it is something that you wouldn't want to present your very first MortgageCoach experience for a customer without having practiced it. But by the time you've done 100 of them, you're faster, you're better, you're hitting on key points. And I think that's something that we really took away, and we're really having a great conversation here for 45 minutes on the coast here, is that little things done very well, repeated, and getting really proficient and experienced with have a huge impact on touching a lot of people very well, and creating repeatable business and repeatable practices that can keep your business flowing.
Yeah, and so my takeaway from his takeaway, and it was a reminder to me that to be a great mortgage professional that has a sustainable career, it is more than sales skills. I mean, most of my interviews, I'm interviewing top producers, and we're shining a light on sales and marketing best practices that improve conversion, that reduce profit or increase profitability by reduced price exceptions. And I focus on that a lot. Maximizing your database, turning your database into dollars. But he opened my mind that to be a great mortgage professional, you got to be a well-rounded athlete. You've got to know product guidelines. You need to know how the business works. And a word that I used, and I'm going to be talking for anyone that uses mortgage currency. First of all, let me know in chat if you're using mortgage currency. It's an incredible platform. Think of it like the pricing engine for underwriting guidelines. So it's a place where you could go and search any underwriting guideline with, I think all or most investors are in there, and you can just get smart on the back end. And so a word that came up in our conversation was mortgage business IQ. So there is a mortgage sales IQ, which I've really dedicated my life, at least my business life, to having a really high mortgage sales IQ and elevating the sales IQ of mortgage professionals. But there's a business IQ, and that has to do with knowing products, and then that has to do with knowing how to run a profitable mortgage practice and do it in a way so you create wealth and financial freedom. We make a lot of money, but how we manage that money, how we manage our P&L. And when I say P&L, I'm not just talking about the CEO. I'm talking about loan officers' P&L, branch managers' P&L. Real quick, Eric, if there were, because I'm going to talk to Tammy about her creating a mortgage business IQ training program. what would be the chapters in that? And you can just wing it. What would be chapters?
Yeah, so I think getting started, I think you would want to focus on what is actually important to people you're going to interface with as an originator. So what's actually important to your clients, what's actually important to your referral sources, what's actually important to focus on. A lot of people, especially when they get started, they talk about acronyms in this business, and there's about 1 billion of them that don't really relate to something that the consumer is focused on, or something that the real estate agent or anyone involved in the transaction might be focused on. So using lingo to try to sound intelligent is probably not the best play. It looks like a crutch. And using mortgage IQ, so business IQ, not just the EQ with the client and all that, but with focusing on learning really how the business works. We don't want to go to a doctor that starts using terminology we don't understand. We want to go to a doctor that knows what they're doing and brings real common sense language to the issue at hand so that we can then embrace it and understand it. And that's what our clients, that's what our real estate agents, that's what these people need to really better themselves with. So I think if there was a training program, let's get back down to basics. Let's not over-impress with terminology that's in the business. Let's over-impress with, hey, what is important to the client that we're actually talking to right now, right in front of us, maybe the real estate agent involved in the transaction right now, right in front of us, and focus there and focus on their needs and solve those needs and do it in a more concise way than I think a lot of people focus on today.
So I'm going to come back to you with that other little, you caught something I said, and let's talk about, I'll let you quote it. So one quick thing I'm going to recommend, Keith Collins, a movement loan officer, someone I've interviewed a number of times, I had recommended that he read the book Traction. And Traction is, a great book. I actually learned how to run a business with the Rockefeller Habits. And now I think Vern Harnish's new book is called Scaling Up, that I have had a coach for 15 years from that training. But anyone who wants to just start upgrading your, and again, I would say business IQ, but you can map it to mortgage IQ, read Traction, read Scaling Up. I'm going to get with Tammy from Mortgage Currency and see if she's game for creating some content around this. If you're watching this and you have some ideas on what are the topics we need to cover within mortgage business IQ, let me know. I'm not gonna personally do that. I mean, I'm gonna be the guy. I'm mortgage coach, and I'm gonna be the king of conversion in the mortgage business. I'm gonna help people generate leads from their databases through Sales Boomerang, but I do want to make it a side gig to get the right people to create the content for y'all. So what are the chapters you want? I see a lot of smart people. James Carmody, what's up? Scott Short, what's up? Brian Morley. Brian Morley, you could probably create a great outline for this. David Kawada. Sean Browning, dude, I thought you were retired. I think I saw you with a TCU jersey at the championship game. My condolences, brother. That was tough. But congratulations on a great season. TCU should be holding their head high, in my opinion. So let's close out with that last takeaway that we were walking and you're like, I like what you just said.
So Dave was very concise in saying that between busyness and business, the difference is very gray. And that really set off a lot of our conversation on the way back over here, is that you can be very busy and not do the activity very well. Or you can do 80% of the activity, or do it to 80% level, and you don't win anything. You have to do it to 100% level to actually land a client, to solve a problem, to create, get past a milestone, a difficulty. You cannot just go through the motions. So one thing that we didn't talk about, but sticks in my head, is I've coached a lot of people that I watch try to make 10 outbound phone calls. But if 10 of them are not good, you're gonna get this much results. If you broke that down to, I'm gonna make 2 very well coordinated, very well planned calls, and you get a result out of 1 or both, that was way better than doing it 10 times. Now, taking the 1 and 2 and then multiplying it out and getting to where you can do 10 quality calls and maybe get 7 good results, 6 good results, that sort of thing. I think that was huge, and so that in my head stuck. But the difference between busyness and business, a lot of people are very busy, but are they actually conducting business? And I think that was key.
Yeah, and another thing is you could call 10 people and you could say the right things, But if they aren't realtors that are doing a lot of business, it's busyness. And remember, guys, you need to be a data-driven mortgage advisor. You got MMI or other tools to know the production of realtors. Be calling the realtors that are doing business, because a lot of realtors are busy and not doing business. A lot of loan officers are busy not doing business. And so I'm going to close out with something that y'all should do. I've been talking about it a lot, that 63% of all mortgages in America start with a 2 or 3%. And you know what percentage of mortgages that start with a 4? It's 20%. So that means 83% of every mortgage in America is a 2, a 3, or a 4. And so realtors don't know this. And listing agents don't know this. And so you need to be the loan officer that calls realtors and informs them of this, that, guys, this is a new era in mortgage and real estate. It's a new era in housing, and we're going to be spending a decade consulting families that, you know what, you should still list your home and move up, or you should rent out your home and move up. And I think it's a new era in mortgage. It's the data-driven advice era, where loan officers need to leverage data, they need to deliver advice, and you need to do that with realtors, and you need to do that with consumers. So hopefully you got some takeaways from this. Now I want you to audit your day-to-day, and at the end of the day, score yourself. You know, what percentage of my day was I busy, and what percentage of the day was I doing business? Any closing thoughts?
No, I think it's fantastic. I've really enjoyed the time, Dave, and like you said, a walk and talk. Yesterday, I think it was perfect that we did this today. We reconnected on some points that we've talked about even in the past, but I think more relevant today than in many years in the past. Business is not going to just come at you. You know, if you want the phone to ring, you have to pick up the phone to make it ring. And the complacency that I think is kind of, permeated the business at this point. We were talking about, in most people's careers, or in at least the last decade and a half, we've seen rates fall. We've seen rates rise now, and what that means. And we can't just focus on interest rate. We can't focus on that kind of the offering. We have to focus on the other parts of the offering. And I think, Dave, you hit it very well, that we're going to have to really start becoming advisors to someone's personal financial wealth. And housing is obviously a big part of that and can be a big part of that. But people don't necessarily know how to focus on that when they're focusing on the rates went up. Now, the home buying opportunity is still a good opportunity, and rates are actually historically right where they've been historically over time. They've just come back up to that, and they're falling off of that even a little bit. So now we're under historical levels yet again. It just doesn't feel that way. We need to get ourselves off of thinking about rate so that we can think about benefits, we can talk about game plans, we can talk about, most people need a place to live, so there's either this or there's that, and if you're interested in buying, here's what it's going to take, and here's kind of the roadmap to follow.
But historical, it is different. While rates, are in a historical norm, 83% of every mortgage in America locked it in when it was low. So you need to be an advisor. Those are my closing thoughts. I do want to make sure, Sean Browning, I put my comment about TCU in context. Congratulations on a great season. I know that last game was a tough one, but TCU was awesome. I was rooting for them, so all you Georgia people, it was a bad night for me. But hopefully you got value. Remember, let me know down below what's up, Shane Kidwell. It's all about execution. Totally, roger that. Jim, it means I need to rent. I just need to learn the rent versus move up analysis. You do. Hey, one last thing, guys. Walking meetings. Like, dude, how good of a meeting is this?
That was great. It was the best.
So I'm going to do that at events more often, but you mortgage professionals, what about walking meetings with realtors? Especially it's January. We all are like, oh, I need to walk more. I need to move more. Consider having some walking meetings with agents. I just came up with that, but I know I'm going to do more walking meetings, and thank you, brother.
Thank you, Dave. Awesome.
All right. This is a